exercise is that when you're asked about it, sometimes there's nothing right there that you can think of. I remember when this was a tabletop discussion at a WAP meeting, and I thought to myself, you know what, I don't have any real fears right now because I really have learned to be courageous and step into my fear. In the past 6 years, I've done so much in my life about stepping into my fear. It had me really evaluate it differently. And then it wasn't until, in listening to other people's fears, you know, about losing a job or not gaining the full potential in life or whatever it might be, it's amazing to hear that. And then it had me really go deep. And one of my greatest fears is losing my eyesight. Because of the, you guys know that I maybe had an issue with my eye and I'm still struggling with it. And I've had a lot of medical procedures, and I try not to think about it. I try to be positive about it and not live in it. So it is a fear of mine. And the worst case scenario is that I would lose sight in that eye. And you know, in the worst case scenario, I wouldn't have sight in both eyes. And so, you know, and people live like that. I mean, and that doesn't, you know, you've seen people who have adversities in life actually grow from those and are examples. And so, you know, it had me say, okay, I really do have that. And, you know, parents have fears about their children, whatever it might be. But I also try not to live in that space. But it's taken me a long time to come to that space of not living in fear. Because I did before, and I would avoid it. You know, avoiding fear was, I was good at it. I just stayed busy. I was a busyaholic. The busier I stayed, the less I had to look at it. But when I finally found quiet time, things would show up. You know, I had, this was 10 years ago, I had fear of knowing that my relationship with my ex wasn't healthy. I had fear of losing everything. I had fear of losing the big house and, you know, and business and everything else tied to it. And so I just didn't do anything. So it took me 10 years to get that. However, once I moved into the first step of fear, you know, it was like every step a little further was a lot easier, you know, and you'll see a little bit later in our presentation about my own stepping into fear, literally. And so it's become easier and easier, but I'll tell you, it takes time to be able to learn to do that and not let fear consume you. So a lot of what I'm teaching you today, I learned on my own too. I learned, number one, in therapy, and number two, a lot of the practices I learned at the University of Santa Monica were activities that helped me move into those spaces too. So here's our next slide. So ask yourself, what if your fears and your dreams exist in the same place? Would you still go there? And you know, it is true, because usually what happens is your dream is out there and it's fear that's holding you back here. So they're there, but it's what you do with your fear. And I will tell you, a fear that I had was starting my own business and knowing that I had to talk in front of people. That was one of my biggest fears, was public speaking. So, and I will show you in just a minute how I worked through that. And so it was my dream, but it was also the fear too. So, and I have been told that I am a toe dipper and I'm not a diver. So when I have fear, I have to take a little baby step and then a baby step, and then sometimes I cry and take one step back, you know, and take 2 steps forward and, you know, 3 steps back. And there's other people that just dive off and do it. You know, those people that are fearless. That's not me. I don't do that. So, and you know, for people that can do that, that's great. And so for the most of humanity, it may not be like that. So that's how I learned to do this, one step at a time. And learning to have a different relationship with fear. Because fear paralyzed me, fear held me back, was safe with fear in my little box. But it's learning to have a new, different relationship with fear. So we have a lovely quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop and look fear in the face. You must do the thing which you think you cannot do. So, are you ready to look fear in the face? Absolutely. If you were talking to fear, what would you say?
Get out of my way.
So,
Get out of my way.
We're going to have a chat with fear. Really, we are. You are. We're going to move into the exercise. You're going to have a conversation with fear. So you're going to find a partner. And it's better if you guys mix yourself up so you're not with your best friend or your spouse. So it's a little safer to do that too. So I'm going to let you guys find your partners. Hopefully we have an even and 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And this is an experiential exercise. And this is a very powerful exercise. You will have, in every group, 2 people a sharer and a neutral observer. So for those of you that have learned my listening skills, this is familiar. So we will have, and I apologize, I don't have the third chair here. So this will be the neutral observer sitting here. And this will be you, and this is an empty chair. This is a new technique called Eastwooding. Has anybody ever heard of that? Actually, that's a newly named. It's actually called Gestalten. And so it is a very powerful experience. So you are going to talk to fear. Actually, you're going to play both roles. So you're going to ask fear some questions, and then you're going to sit in a chair with fear, and fear is going to answer you. And I will tell you how healing this is. Sometimes this process, and everything I teach you, please, know that you can take this home and do this. I had a very powerful conversation with my mother this spring, doing it this way. I couldn't talk to her face to face, but this is how I talked to her. And so it was amazing to see what shows up, because what happens when you do this, it's what's in your unconscious and your subconscious that comes up. So I'm going to give you a little, actually let me finish what I've got here, and then I'm going to give you a little example of what I did, of what you're going to do.
Okay.
So you will face the empty chair, who will be fear, and you're going to play both roles. You're going to play you and fear. And your partner will be a neutral observer, a witness and a support to you in this process. So the third chair, and I will get it just so that, and who would like to be a guinea pig? Okay, I'll let you come on over here, Gloria. And I will have you sit right here in this chair.
This one here?
This one right here. And for whoever is in the neutral observer chair, you may want to have a piece of paper and a pen to take notes while the other person is doing that, if they ask you to. So this is actually this is a conversation I had with fear when I was in school, and this was about standing up in front of people. At our final class, we had to stand up and talk about our second-year project, and mine was creating Heartfelt workforce. And I had to stand up in front of a class of 200 people and announce what my project was and what my goals were and how it was for me during the 2 years. And my biggest fear was standing in front of that crowd. So this is my conversation I had with fear. So I'm going to give you guys some quiet time when you're here to kind of center and find out what might be. And this person is not butting in. This person is just observing and holding the space for you too, in a very safe space. So fear. Why do you hold me back? Why do you make me paralyzed when I stand in front of crowds? Why is it that I can't talk in front of crowds and I am afraid of doing that? Because I don't want you to make fun of you. I have people to make fun of you. I don't want you to embarrass yourself. I just want you to be safe. You're safe if you don't do anything. And it's better if you just don't go up there. But this is my dream, this is what I want to do, and I don't want you to hold me back. I really want you to support me in this. Is there another role that you can have instead of being a barrier to me? Perhaps. Maybe I could still be there in case there's something really bad to save you, to help you, but maybe I could be your cheerleader. Maybe if you want it that bad, I can be your cheerleader. So you know what? I'm going to be on your shoulder when you're standing in front of your crowd. And I'm just going to whisper good things in your ear. How's that? That would be awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being there, for protecting me and keeping me safe. But I really want you to be in a different role. And thank you for being open to changing that role. Okay, I just want you to know that in case something really tragic happens, I'll be there for you. But I know you want this as a dream, so I'm going to let you do that. Thank you.
So fear gave you permission.
Yeah, I asked fear to change its role, to be supportive in my dream, instead of holding me back, instead of paralyzing me. And so my fear, and it wasn't until I moved into the exercise that I didn't know that, it's my fear